The global order you've always known is crumbling right before your eyes. For decades, the Western bloc, led by the US and Europe, has set the rules, steered global institutions, and controlled the economy. But a powerful force is rising: BRICS. Once just an economic alliance, BRICS has evolved into a formidable geopolitical bloc directly challenging Western supremacy. In today's video, we'll explore how BRICS is shaking the very foundations of global power and why you should care. The rise of BRICS, how it all began. The BRICS group was formally established in 2009 when Brazil, Russia, India, and China, later joined by South Africa in 2010, united to create a counterbalance to the Western-dominated global institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. Initially, their shared goal was to foster economic cooperation, trade, and investment among emerging economies. However, over time, their ambitions expanded as these nations recognized their collective influence. Today, BRICS nations account for more than 40% of the world's population and nearly 25% of global GDP, making them a formidable economic bloc. For instance, China and India alone have some of the fastest-growing economies, and Russia holds significant geopolitical leverage due to its vast energy resources. What was once a loose coalition is now a growing counterweight to the Western-controlled global order. For instance, BRICS has invited several countries like Saudi Arabia and Iran to join its ranks, expanding its geopolitical reach. Think of BRICS like a growing player in a global chess match. The more pieces it controls, the more it can challenge long-established powers, reshaping the board itself. Economic might of BRICS. Economically, BRICS is a heavyweight in global trade and investment. China, the second-largest economy globally, is a major driving force, but India is quickly catching up with an impressive GDP growth rate. Brazil and Russia remain key players in agriculture, natural resources, and energy. South Africa plays a strategic role in Africa, representing the continent in global discussions. To put this in perspective, BRICS countries have a combined GDP of over $25 trillion, nearly matching that of the G7. These nations are not just rising powers, they're shifting the balance of global economic power. One of BRICS's most profound impacts is its attempt to reduce reliance on the US dollar in international trade. Members of the group, particularly China and Russia, have been pushing to establish alternative currencies or mechanisms for trade settlement, reducing their vulnerability to sanctions and currency fluctuations. For example, China's yuan has gained significant ground in global reserves, and Russia, facing Western sanctions over its invasion of Ukraine, has pivoted towards trading in non-dollar currencies. Brazil has also engaged in bilateral trade agreements using the Chinese yuan. This trend has sparked discussions about a BRICS currency in the future, a move that could drastically undermine the dollar's global supremacy. Let's just picture the dollar as the dominant language everyone in the world speaks to communicate. BRICS is trying to create a new language that's just as useful, and if enough countries adopt it, the old system could break down. Infrastructure and investment, BRICS versus Western financial institutions. The New Development Bank, NDB, founded by BRICS in 2014, is one of the group's most significant tools for changing the global financial landscape. Its purpose is to finance infrastructure and sustainable development projects in member countries, providing an alternative to the World Bank and IMF. In 2021, the BRICS New Development Bank approved $7.2 billion in loans for projects that included energy infrastructure and sustainable development in developing nations, showing its capability to operate independently of Western financial systems. Recently, the NDB has begun lending in local currencies, reducing dependency on the dollar and euro. With large-scale projects like renewable energy plants in Brazil and transportation networks in India, BRICS is providing developing nations with more accessible financing options. This challenges the Western financial order, which often imposes strict loan conditions and austerity measures on borrowers. Challenging Western dominance. The BRICS nations are not content with being second-tier players in a world run by Western powers. They have expanded their economic alliances, particularly with countries in Africa, Latin America, and Asia. Many other emerging economies like Argentina, Egypt, and Indonesia have shown interest in joining the bloc. The idea of BRICS Plus is a strategic move to amplify its influence across more regions, especially in Africa, Latin America, and Asia. By broadening their membership, BRICS could rival the G7 in terms of geopolitical influence. More members would not only increase their economic power but also reshape global alliances, with developing nations potentially turning away from Western partnerships in favor of BRICS. By fostering these relationships, they're creating new pathways for trade, investment, and cooperation outside of Western-dominated channels. Think of BRICS as a club that's gaining popularity. More countries want to join, and with every new member, the club's power grows, enabling it to challenge long-standing institutions that once seemed untouchable. Political and strategic realignment, a new geopolitical force. Now, BRICS isn't just an economic group. It's increasingly becoming a political alliance that challenges the influence of Western powers, especially the U.S. Traditionally, the U.S. and Western Europe have dominated international decision-making, particularly through institutions like the United Nations and NATO. However, BRICS nations, especially China and Russia, are challenging this dominance. The group's members often oppose Western interventions in countries like Syria and Libya, and many BRICS nations have been vocal about the unfairness of US-led sanctions, particularly against Russia. Russia's assertiveness on the global stage and China's Belt and Road Initiative are key examples of BRICS nations using their geopolitical muscle to counterbalance Western influence. Their partnership has reshaped diplomacy, creating new alliances with countries that might have otherwise been left out of Western discussions. This political realignment is reshaping global governance. China and Russia's opposition to NATO expansion and U.S. global dominance have rallied many developing nations around BRICS. Moreover, BRICS supports a multipolar world where no single country or group of countries can dominate global affairs. The global political scene has become like a school playground. For years, one group of kids, the West, has been in control of all the games. BRICS is like a new group of kids who've started making their own rules, drawing others to join in, which disrupts the old way of doing things. Technological cooperation and innovation. Another key area where BRICS nations are changing the global order is in technological cooperation. China is at the forefront of technologies like artificial intelligence, AI, 5G, and digital currencies, while India is emerging as a tech hub with its booming IT sector and recent space achievements. These advancements and collaboration allow BRICS nations to catch up and even surpass Western nations in critical technological sectors. China's rise as a global tech leader, Huawei, for instance, is one of the largest telecommunications equipment manufacturers in the world, has led to trade wars and sanctions from Western countries. Meanwhile, India's space program is advancing rapidly, with its successful lunar missions competing with NASA. These technological strides position BRICS as a formidable competitor to Western tech supremacy. Picture a race where, for years, one team, the West, has always been ahead. But now, the other team, BRICS, has developed new training techniques, faster shoes, and better strategies. They're quickly catching up, and it's only a matter of time before they're neck and neck. Challenges facing BRICS. Despite their ambitions, BRICS faces significant internal challenges. India and China have long-standing border disputes, and their differing political ideologies often cause friction within the group. Additionally, the stark economic differences between members like China and South Africa pose challenges to creating a unified strategy. Moreover, while BRICS nations seek to create a multipolar world, they have yet to fully agree on what that should look like. The geopolitical rivalries between BRICS members, particularly with India balancing ties with the US and Russia, further complicate decision-making processes. Internal divisions could hamper their ability to truly challenge Western institutions. Still, in 2024, the group appears committed to finding common ground, especially in areas like trade and investment. BRICS's ability to overcome these internal frictions will determine its future success in shifting the global order. Just like a sports team with incredibly talented players, their success in winning a championship lies in how they settle their disagreements. The future of BRICS. What's next? One of the most ambitious plans of BRICS is to create a BRICS currency, which would allow member nations to trade without relying on the US dollar. This move toward de-dollarization could drastically reduce the global reliance on the dollar in international trade and finance, weakening one of the West's greatest economic advantages. Countries like Russia and China have already been experimenting with trading in local currencies. Should a BRICS currency emerge, it could disrupt the existing financial order, particularly for energy and commodities trading. In 2022, Russia began selling oil to China in yuan, a direct challenge to the dominance of the petrodollar system that has underpinned global trade for decades. As the world grows more interconnected, the BRICS alliance is set to deepen its cooperation. In 2024, discussions around military cooperation and even a BRICS military alliance have gained traction, indicating that BRICS's vision for a multipolar world could extend beyond economics. Additionally, as the BRICS nations grow in strength, they are likely to push for more significant reforms at the United Nations and other global institutions, where they often feel underrepresented. This means that BRICS could eventually become not just an economic and political powerhouse, but a military alliance capable of challenging NATO or other Western military blocs. The upcoming BRICS summits will likely reveal more concrete plans for the future. But one thing is certain: the world order is shifting, and BRICS is a key player in that change. BRICS is rising, and the world order as we know it is changing fast. Whether through economic power, technological advancements, geopolitical strategy, or their push for a new global financial system, BRICS is challenging Western dominance and offering a glimpse into a future where power is more evenly distributed. But the question remains: can BRICS overcome its internal differences to truly change the world order? Let us know what you think by dropping your thoughts in the comments below. In the meantime, stay informed by subscribing to our channel so you don't miss any insights on global affairs. Thanks for watching.